Hi everyone, it's Adrienne Leah. This is a review of the Theater Dolls Tarot by Maria Kokora. This is a Russian deck, so I thought it would be fitting to bring out my nesting doll that was gifted to me by my aunt, who's in Russia. So I'm also showing my results of me trimming the deck. I also put the names on the cards on the bottom. There was writing on the top, so I cut off the borders off of the sides and the top, and I rounded the corners. It also fits in one of my smaller hand-sewn tarot bags, which is awesome. This deck modification reminds me of the Wildwood Tarot that was traded to me by my friend Mary Bell. So I'll show that one quickly. I have this one in a bear tarot bag. I love that she edged it in this aquatic green. I use this when it's in warmer seasons. I feel like this is more of a feminine deck, whereas my Druidcraft is more of my masculine deck, and it's more of a dominating Mighty Oak type of deck. So the Theater Dolls Tarot comes in this box. I got this off of eBay, and the seller had a picture of this deck. I try to get decks that have pictures for their images, especially for those that are harder for me to get, or the out of print ones. So the images are also on the backs of the cards. In this box, there's a guidebook that's in Russian. There's also an English version of this. It's a PDF on the creator's website, and the deck comes in this box that's placed in that box. So I have the extra cards in there. I don't use them, but I'll show them. I'm so happy that they came with extra cards because I tested what I wanted to trim on them. I'm so happy that I strengthened my connection when I trimmed the deck. I was also looking at the Steampunk Tarot, but I am so glad that I chose to use this deck because my interest in the Steampunk Tarot was connected to why I love watching the Sherlock Holmes movies. And I think why I didn't get the deck is because there is a strong dark palette to it, and there's a lot of pollution in the deck because of the human creations in the factories that are in the deck. So I don't have that one right now. So I wanted to go through some of the cards. I heard about this deck from my friends Jane from My Life in Tarot. She's also on Facebook and Instagram. She said that she was mainly on Facebook. I don't have a Facebook, but when she's on Instagram, we talk there. She hasn't been on YouTube recently, but she does have a lot of videos. And she has a flip through of this deck too. It's a different trimming, so I may post a flip through of how mine is. And before I get through the cards, I'm sorry I'm taking a while, the cardstock is on the thinner side, so I don't mind the thinness, and it actually stiffened up a bit when I trimmed it, but it is papery, so I'm not sure how it's going to do with a lot of shuffling. So this is the deck. You could see that there's the stage curtain, and this is all taken on stage. The curtain changes, and so do the props, and I think it's a brilliant deck. I consider this more of an intellectual deck. It has a dominant air element, but there is a hint of earthiness to it, so pentacles. But there are all the elements that are depicted in this deck, but I feel like those really stand out to me. You can see that there's the dowsing symbol for the elements, and this one's the King of Wands. I love how theatrical he is, and I feel like it really shows the personality of the deck, or the card. And the king and queens are on thrones, the knight has a horse, and the pages vary a bit. There is a bit of industrial imagery here, especially for the piping and the water. And there's the matches that you've seen in the King of Wands. And you can see that the Three of Cups, that it seems like they're having a party, and there's the boombox, and they're getting the fountain water and enjoying themselves. You can see that the cup is going to be a constant symbol that's in the cup suit, and there are holes that go in the ground, which seems pretty ingenious because of the water. There are masks in here. Their expressions don't vary a lot, but there are ones that change a bit. So this one seems a bit reckless for the Page of Wands, and I feel that this is suiting. And you can see that she has a sack here, which is another common symbol that's in here, set to the side, kind of just wanting to have fun, maybe have a break. You could see the Ten of Wands, how many times that he burned out, and maybe he's going to enjoy himself now, and the curtain changed. These aren't in order. So the Knight of Wands, you can notice the horses are in here, or in this one horse, and he has the backpack here. You can also go directional for this, because he's going the opposite way. He kind of goes with his own flow, and he seems determined. He holds his own torch, and the curtain changes. I love the Page of Cups. It's a really sweet one, looking like she's just enjoying herself and just bathing herself in her excitement, her creativity. But the back is interesting. There's a bit of mindfulness. Pillows and relaxing seem to be a pattern too in the cup suit. This one's the Ten of Cups. I won't name all of them in case you don't want me to. I might have to adjust myself because my foot was falling asleep. So, the Four of Pentacles. There's a lot going on in the props, the tree props. It's interesting because you can see different types of things flourishing. And what's interesting is that I feel like normally you would have a flowering season, and you'd also have the fruit come in another season. But being mindful and collecting, and you can see the different color pots. And it is faint, but you can see a pattern in the curtain as well. And it looks like she's really savoring what she has. But there is a lot. It reminds me of if you're foraging, there's a certain amount that is recommended to take, but not to take the whole plant because it could be over-harvested. And sage is over-harvested. It's one of them. So there's like endangered species, invasive plants. The Magician. You see the world in other images too. And I do like the glimmer that's in some of the cards too. You can see a pattern with the 6 and 7 of Cups. The 6 of Cups, it kind of looks like she's younger. It seems like a familiar image where you're looking at maybe a magazine or a book. And then here you might get older and someone's given you a cup. And then these are all toppled down because it seems like those were all stacked up, and now there's a new favorite going on. And the different curtains. Sorry, I keep mentioning the curtains. So, the 5 of Cups and the 4 of Cups. 5 of Cups, or the 4 of Cups is that she's sitting on her bowl, and it's raining in this one, and snowing. It seems to be like a discontent card. But then in the 5 of Cups, you see that her bowl gets kicked over, and she has the rainbow bowl here, but there's the rainbow water coming out of there too. I love this Queen of Wands. I feel like it gives off the impression of the Queen of Wands. And she's dancing around the fire. I kind of get like a gypsy type of imagery out of this. Which I did think about getting the Buckland Romani, but I feel like it's kind of, or it is disrespectful for my rabbit totem that is at my tarot section, my bookshelf, because I feel like the hanged man is a hanging rabbit. Not to say that other people shouldn't get the deck, because I actually really love the deck. But I do have the Slavic Tarot that I really love. So this is the Hanged Man, and he's reading. And his hat is also on the ground too, so he might be taking a break and getting his whole perspective and experiences. This is the Lion and the Lamb type of show. The Queen of Pentacles. This could be like a homemaker, but this could also be perfecting a hobby that you have, or if you're in a certain career. And the green background. And her seat is a pentacle with pentacles surrounding it. You can see that there's a bunch of apples at the bottom. The apples are common in the pentacle suit. You've seen a couple of them. 2 of Swords. There is some integration with the black and white there. And needles are in the sword suit. Temperance with the stacking of the blocks and the element associations. And you have the thing that has this sand in it. And the back looks like a wave, kind of waves, and it's beige, so it might be sand. I love the Seven of Swords when it talks about knowledge, and you could see that he crossed out some of the things, so maybe he had plans, but it didn't seem ethical, or it wasn't working in some way, so now he's rewriting it. And there's a question mark on one of them, like, is this going to work? So you might have to do some testing, even some balled up pieces of paper. And the needles are holding up the papers with the blue background. And this one has waves too, so that's interesting. The World, the end of the show. Three of Swords with the three figures, also with the apple too. And there's the chessboard table, and the pieces aren't on the board anymore. Some of them are, but things didn't go according to plan, or maybe you lost the game. Judgment, it's interesting that it has the boomerang, and you can see that the time, or that object is different inside. And there's a bit of studying. There's even the apple that has been bitten. And it looks like he was awaiting his results. But the mask kind of looks like there's, I don't know, sweat, or it looks aged in a way. And there's the different elements in this too. Hermit, maybe this is like an intermission card. Then the chest, and one of the lights are out. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting words. The Five of Pentacles, and this is a wintry scene. And if you can look, you can see that the mask is tied on. And you can see that there aren't that many leaves on here, and there's a bitten apple in there, so saving up what you have. Even the bow, which could be more of a style change. Nine of Pentacles. There's a lot of apples in here and a pentacle. And she is satisfied. And in the back you can see that there's growth. You can see where the seeds are and the progress. And it reminds me of being self-made. And the sun is directly in the center. So it seems like there is a directness to this. The Two of Cups looks like there's an exchange. And there is some, I guess maybe sacrifice in a way, but there's also the balance and respect and being able to be self-giving in a relationship. The Sun, I really love the props in here. So 5 of Wands. I like how there's a clock here, which isn't usually in a 5 of Wands, but it makes sense to have that. And there's multiple sacks, and the matches aren't lit, but there's one here. It kind of reminds me of cupping, like a holistic perspective on it. And the background is more muted flames, or maybe burnt out flames. And resting and waking up late. So I'm giving quick interpretations. Of course, there's so many things that you can get from this deck. In a way, with all the detail, it reminds me of my Everyday Witch Tarot. Thinking I might do longer spreads with this one, but I feel like clients may react well to this, and I got the 9 of Cups for that. So the 8 of Pentacles, and she's on the ladder. And she's at the very top, but there's also the smaller ones here to look after too, or even to mentor. With the blue background, also growth there too in the imagery. This one is really balanced in a way where to be careful with the Justice card. And with some of the major arcana, I decided to trim the sides before or after I labeled the major arcana already. But since I'm just using it, I don't mind. And it didn't bother me when I did it either. So this is the King of Pentacles, and he has his shovel here too, and his apple in his other hand. Seems like he is mindful about what he does, and the plants are behind him too, behind his throne. And he looks relaxed, or time to relax after doing a day's work. The 2 of Pentacles, I really love this one because she's opening the apple and you could see the detail within the work that needs to put in. So fine detailing and staying balanced generically with the 2 of Pentacles. There's also the smaller stages of growth there, but it is progress. I love the Empress, and she has nesting dolls. I'll bring up the Emperor too. So she's nurturing the nesting dolls. And you can see the general priorities of the Emperor and Empress. Some might associate themselves with the other one. So these are blank. But you can see that there's paint here too, so she can create. And there's the World. So the World is in a different spot than the Emperor. He's sort of relaxing, and he's holding the boat. But then the masks are on the bottom while she's making them. And she has a ship too. It's more off to the side. And a cat. I love the cat. I'm actually wearing my cat moon earrings because I had a black cat, Kiki. I actually didn't name her, but it makes sense for her name in a way. And the color of the throne's changed. She seems more, has a calming expression, and he has more of a domineering one, even though he has his feet up and he has books. which some people may disagree, but generally with the maybe social standards of it. The Ace of Cups. The Knight of Wands is a cool one. Being surrounded by fire, with the traditional meaning too. But he is in a meditative or relaxed position, so he may have gotten it right. The Hierophant also has the nesting dolls in here too, and he's opening the book, and there's candles around. Could be associated with some type of sacred ritual or objective, but there is something that denotes knowledge seeking, but he has his hand to his heart. Four of Wands, which is interesting, but he has the flame in here that's kept up while he's resting in the cold, and it's dark, and he still has matches left over. Eight of Wands, it reminds me of if you were to go on a plane and they signal the plane to come in or where to go. Lovers, and there's different types of ladders, maybe progression or different types of relationships or authenticity, and she's taking off her mask, and commitment when they're holding hands. High Priestess, the one that maybe is journaling and looking at the world, some mysticism with the glimmer in the back and the feather. Four of Swords, which is a bit of a different depiction for the Four of Swords, and she looks like she's trying to get it right, because the other time may have been incorrect where she missed the target, but she looks like she's trying. Ten of Pentacles, there is a relaxed look on her face, and well, she looks happy, and she looks like she has been eating the apples. And even the moon here is satisfied too. And she's surrounded by her creations, and she separated the apples and the pentacles, and she still has a bit growing here too. The star is really awesome. There's steps, and there's directions, like the blueprints. I'm going to speed it up a bit because I'm writing at 28 minutes. King of Cups. This is a welcoming one, and they have different backgrounds too compared to the Queen of Cups. And she's holding a daisy, and the yellow and the daisy could be linked to the hat there too. Also, her hair's done and her bow is a different color. An Ace of Wands, letting out maybe your passion, like drumming, or drumming with the match. And you can see that there's the smoke coming up with the treble clef, the Death card, the scissors. I love the King of Swords. It reminds me of my dad. There's a paper plane, and the two needles at the side, and there is an enjoyment here. A bit different from a reaction from other King of Swords, but there's also the needles surrounding, and then there's another plane here too, and needles there. Nine of Cups, going through the water. It reminds me of the water that would go up like in maybe the city areas where they try to have some cooling areas where you can run through. Queen of Swords. She also has a plane, but the plan that she has are the papers, so there's an X on it. But there's this one, maybe she agreed on that. There's 2 planes and more needles. Knight of Swords. With the book and the needle to the side. Maybe he finished off his project in a different color. Well, the sword suit have the yellow on there. And he looks determined. The Page of Swords opening the box. But there's also the needle behind her too. And a book. Maybe there should be other things that she should be focusing on. So it looks like there's cabbage behind this one for the Devil card. But he's also going through the wall or a door. So the Nine of Swords, that could be projection. It reminds me of like somewhere where you have your magnifying glass. Sorry. In the different yarn. The Eight of Swords. Your thoughts above you or surrounding you can really define what your decisions on if you're moving forward or if you're going to keep working on the cycle that you're working on. The Tower. You can see that it's not the most stable one. Six of Swords. Then the needles are in the bowl. Five of Swords. The moon with the different symbols associated with the moon. And even on this side, the 2 colors, black and white, actually. In the mirror or projection, or the doorway, what it could be. Chariot. I just saw something on my phone. I think I am running out of room. The Wheel of Fortune. You can see the machines, which one's working. Knight of Pentacles, a still one. 2 of Wands, maybe who you meet along the way. Ace of Swords, getting through the brick wall. Such an appearance too of how you make your way or how you present. Different water here. Pulling out an apple for the Ace of Pentacles. Blossoming, beginning stages, maybe, for the Seven of Pentacles. Knight of Cups, where he really leads the way. Love the Six of Pentacles with the nurturing. There's a lot going on with the Fool card. He's glass, and then there's the different signs and the traps, but There's the balloons that he's carrying and the different colored curtain. And the gesture hat. And the Six of Wands. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was an interesting review for you. And I'll pull out one card. The Ace of Cups. It seems like there's a lot of potential. Then you got the Nine of Swords. And the Four of Cups. This could be something where maybe you're trying to make a decision, but there's different alternatives to it, or maybe you're thinking that it might not be successful. But with the Four of Cups, it could be that going with whatever's given to you at this time might be the best choice to start there, because there has to be a starting point. Even though, well, the starting point is the idea, and then maybe what's given is the opportunity. That's the next point. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was a helpful video. If you have any questions for me, I have my website where you can message me on there. Thanks, guys. Bye.